It is the sugar daddy. Pada ba bam pa bam pam 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 padam pam pam. What is happening in Guyana? We facing a crisis. Oil industry, oil and gas industry in a crisis. The money is like shit. What happening to the politician? They are selling dreams to the Guyanese. They could call me a lunatic. Go, I'm going back to basic. I'm going to pick a stance and pump my dick. I'm going back to basic. Pam, 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 pam. What is happening in Guyana? The water authorities. GWI simply means getting wicked intention. They got wicked intention. They supplying me with gutter water. They could call me a lunatic. I going back to basic. Pram, 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 pram. I pick a stance and pump my dick. I going back to basic. Pram, 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 pram. What is happening at GPL? There's another government utilities. GPL simply means getting plenty lantern. Also, it simply means getting problem longer and longer. But the black is never out. When the light gone out, black is coming. I gonna they could they could call me a lunatic. I'm going back to a basic. I pick a stance and pump my dick. I'm going back to basic. Boom, boom, boom. What is happening in the government? They're selling dreams. But deep in the heart, they're very mean. Ba-da-ba-dam, ba-ba-ba-ba. They dirty the record. They dirty the record by breaching the political accord. They could call me a lunatic. I'm going back to basic. Pam, 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 pam. I pick a stance and pump my dick. I'm going back to basic. What is happening in the private sector? Too much exploiting. But the Chinese come and take over, make it easy for we pocket. The private sector, the businessmen, you don't know the glory will come to an end, but they exploiting the people. Because when you go in the shop nowadays, you're going home with empty pocket, nothing to save. Pa 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 da pam pa 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 pam. They could call me a lunatic. I'm going back to basic. I pick a stance and pump my dick. I'm going back to basic. What is happening in them private security is too much a problem and frustration. People crying people crying out loud of unfair activity. They working so hard and they getting rob. They could call me a lunatic. I'm going back to basic. I pick a stance and pump my dick. I'm going back to basic. What is happening with the women today? 85% of them, they're becoming mean and selling dreams, but in the heart they're very mean. They're selling dreams in the heart is mean, but they could call me a lunatic. I going back to basic. I pick a stance and pump my dick. Going back to basic. Because the pussy price going up steady. Going back to basic. Am I using my dick for magic? Going back to basic. Pam 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 piribidam pam. What is happening in the country? The Venezuelans looking for takeover, but they're not very proper because they will suffer. They will face God, wrath, and anger, and they will suffer forever. They could call me a lunatic. I'm going back to basic. I pick a stance and pump my dick. Going back to basic. With my dick, I walk in my magic. Going back to basic. Trying to avoid them woman tricks. Going back to basic. When I was 13, going into 14, I used to enjoy rubbing my dick. And the dick used to perform magic. Going back to basic. What is happening in the religious circle is too much backbiting, especially in the Christian church, is a lot of backbiting. The wear the wig and they dancing and they wear the wig and they behavior aggish like pig. And they dress parade just to do masquerade. But they howling but the blood of Jesus. But them I understand is a paganism vampire. When every Easter they looking for eat the flesh and drink the blood. It's a practice to become a vampire in the Christian religious order. They could call me a lunatic. I'm going back to basic. I pick a stance and pump my dick. Going back to basic. With my dick, I walk in my magic. Going back to basic. That's the end of the story. Telling you about my glory.